see my shirt?
Welcome, everybody, to the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe on a special day. May the 4th be with you. How's everyone doing out there today? Yes, I know. That's hard to take me seriously in this, so we'll go ahead and do this. Much better. Yeah, not a bigger costume today, but we decided to go ahead and stick with a good old Rebel helmet. So got a great guest today for the first time in a long time. You're on the other side of the screen today. This is Jennifer Clemens, our event and communications officer. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we're going to have some fun going over a lot of different things, and there may be a few Star Wars questions in here at some point in time. Unscripted. So you have a lot of roles here at City Hall. So tell us about the two big ones, events and communications, and what those are all about.
So for events, I get to oversee and manage 12 city events. And with that comes collaborating with all the different city departments and planning the logistics of all of the events. I also get to work with the Reynoldsburg Police Department, the Truro Township Fire Department, and then I do a lot of collaboration with a lot of our local and civic organizations and creating volunteer opportunities at some of our events and partnering on some different opportunities there. I also work with some of the businesses in creating sponsorship opportunities at our events that are unique to each event and to the businesses, creating some opportunities for them to get in front of their target demographic and then in front of our residents. As far as the communication, there's a lot that goes into that. We do a lot, and we are doing so much more than we ever have, but I oversee the city website and I manage most of the social media platforms that we have here in the city. I work on various print pieces. Super proud of this one. And I get to work with all the directors on creating a monthly e-newsletter. And if you're not getting it, why are you not getting it?
Because you haven't registered for it on Reynoldsburg Connects.
It's a thing. So each month we sit together and try to think of different topics that are relevant that each department is doing, whether we're hiring, things that are going in parks and service. So it's a great way to get information of things that are going on in the city. We also work at doing a monthly events calendar. We've started doing that this year as well, where we list not only city meetings and events that we have going on here, but things that are in the Parks and Recreation Department. They're things that you aren't registering for, that are kind of open to all families to go to. I'm always looking for things that the metro parks are doing, the libraries, some of our civic organizations, events that they have, we list those in there. So anybody watching, if you have events you want to put on there, please shoot me an email. I know with the new website, we're going to really look to incorporate that on the calendar as well. So
Speaking of the new website.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, okay.
But I think the most important role that I play with the communications part of it is building relationships with our different media outlets, working with our local businesses and our residents, and just making sure we're getting our messaging out there and looking at new ways to just connect every year. It changes every year.
I like how you plugged the connect in there one other time.
Always.
So, we always talk about how can we better communicate things to members of our community. So what is the goal that you have this year about how we're trying to work to improve our communication?
Well, I think you and I have always been on the same page with this, is that we want to be a city that is connected and engaging with our residents. I know that's always been, every year when we talk about what we're going to do new each year, that is our primary goal. And communication is so essential to everything that we do. And I think the most important part of that is just listening to what our residents are saying. And I love how we look at social media over the weekends, and we are at events and we get feedback from businesses and customers, and we take that information into our staff meetings and we work through all the different departments and what kind of messaging can we put out. I think this year I am personally trying to be more forward thinking about different things that we see seasonally and getting that messaging out there instead of act like, oh yeah, we are cleaning out or flushing fire hydrants. Yeah. And so creating more streamlined messaging through social media platforms. But I think the next step in really moving our communications forward is doing a resident survey. I would really like to connect with the community and see how they want to receive that information. I think that's important, and the next step for the communications department is identifying, because it changes every year, and I think we haven't plugged into that. We've been a city, and it's not unique to Reynoldsburg by any means, but we went from where we had a newspaper and we would put all that stuff. We run ads in the newspaper, and then we shifted to, we put it on social media, so that was where we put all of our information. And we've done a 180, realizing that it's not one tool. It's so many different platforms that we have to incorporate to get that information out there. And so, like with the community guide, that's something we did last year. And I think doing this survey is going to help us identify some areas that we're missing. I'd like to get out and just do some other events that maybe we don't do as a city, and maybe just do like a dot survey. Pick some of the questions and go to an event that we're not already plugged into an audience, and get some other feedback in that direction. So those are some of my bucket list things for this year.
There's a couple of things. I mean, the biggest issue is why everyone isn't following the City of Reynoldsburg Facebook page or our website is beyond me, but apparently there are people out there that don't.
There are.
It's how do we reach those people that we're most curious about. We've had a good partnership with the school district, and so we open up our audience in that world. Members of council are gracious enough to start sharing for their personal networks and things of that nature. But again, it's always trying to move into that next best step.
Yeah, and that has been a great partnership with everybody sharing that information. It helps.
Well, you mentioned the new website, and we're still on track for sometime in June.
Early June. Not on track.
June.
It is going to be done.
Are there any specific things that you are really looking forward to seeing? Like, is there a particular feature that it's going to have, other than the fact that it's going to be new and user-friendly? Is there going to be something more specific that you're looking forward to?
Well, honestly, it is the functionality of the website. I think as we were early on in the development and design phase of this, the number one thing that I kept saying was, I want this to be an extension of our customer service. Yeah. And that was always the number one goal with this new website. And so doing Google Analytics, talking to different departments about what information our residents are seeking, and making sure that that was on the front page of our website and easily accessible. So I think that I'm excited that you'll be able to, if you're looking for jobs, that's going to be a button right on the front page. If you're looking for forms or registering for Parks and Recreation programs, that's going to be right there, and you're not going to have to go down. And then identifying outside of that, how do we make that information more accessible? I also like the streaming capabilities of that. That's one of the things that I'm really excited about, because COVID forced us to think of new ways to do things, and part of that was live streaming, like what we're doing now. And it's a new tool to get information out to the community. And not that we didn't have tons of people coming to city council meetings, but now we have an audience that we weren't reaching before through these live streaming. But realizing that not everybody's on Facebook. They're not going to go to YouTube and watch them again. So this will allow somebody we can start to market, go to our website, and it's going to be streaming. You can watch it there as well. So I'm excited for that. I think it's going to connect us to a new demographic.
I'm looking forward to just some of the other options, as far as, whether it's bill pay, whether it's, registering for certain things, or just getting information. So, one of the biggest things that happens is we get phone calls all the time. My office does, because of Mayor's Court. Even though I have absolutely nothing to do with it, but the idea is that if there's some kind of court access that they can register at that point in time, that's an option that they can look at from there. Yeah. So what is your favorite event during the year, not including the Tomato Festival? That's its whole other thing. But other than the Tomato Festival, what are some of your favorite events?
Well, I don't think you can ask an event planner what their favorite event is.
Yes, I can.
I really love all the events that we put on here in the city, and it's really neat to watch how this position has grown to just a handful of events to 12 events. And I think if you look at some of the things that we're doing, it's really engaging the diverse culture here in our community. So I'm really excited about that. But for me, whenever I'm creating an event, I try to create a unique experience that's entertaining, it is educational, it's inclusive. And there's always a moment, every year there's a moment where you see all of that come together. And last year, I know I've shared this with a lot of you, and I've shared this with you before, that it was a food truck event last year. And the weather was beautiful, the music was great, there was neighbors, reconnecting, there was active members of our senior center who had all come together to have dinner, kids were playing in the park, and it was just at that moment, like, wow, I've really created something special here. So that was last year. So I'm really looking forward to this year in some of the events that we have. The Artist and Makers Market.
Coming up soon.
It is coming up soon, and we have some really neat artists that are coming this year. So I love that event because it's a great way to engage some just new things, and the work that these people do is incredible. We've added some new vendors to that, so I'm excited. I don't know where I'm going to put everybody.
That's a good problem to have.
It is
though.
a good problem to have, so I'm really excited about that. You know, the farmers market is near and dear to my heart. They're like family to me, and so I really hope that the residents and the community gets out and supports. We have vendors that drive over an hour to come to our farmers market, so I hope we see that support out there for them. Blues and Brews, I'm excited to see what year 2 brings for that.
What I've noticed as a pattern is the first year it's kind of like small and everybody's enjoying it, and then all of a sudden you see a lot of growth from year 1 to year 2.
Oh yeah, well we learn.
Yeah.
You learn every year, and you learn like what residents are drawn to, and you adjust every year. I always love the Spooky Pooch Parade. I love watching everybody come dressed up with their dogs and having fun in the park. So I can't pick one. I'm sorry.
All right. So we do have some good news on the Tomato Festival front. So I'm going to go ahead and see as how it's taken a little bit of time. If you want to go ahead and announce who are.
I feel like you should announce.
No,
it.
this one's on you because we've been working really hard to try and get all this tied up. So obviously on Saturday night we have Plain White Tees.
Yes.
And then Friday night we have Morris Day, and then on Thursday night our new act is going to be
North to Nashville.
So there you go. So it is official. North to Nashville will be here on Thursday night for the Tomato Festival. So we're going to be hitting a lot of our demographics and bringing different types of music in. So now the fun part is figuring out who those opening acts are. So that's the next phase of everything.
Yeah, and we're working on that. And that's what I love about the Tomato Festivals. We don't just go down one genre, and we're changing it every year. So we hit a lot of different audiences every year with it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have North to Nashville come back to the festival. They have a great following here, so I'm excited that we were able to nail that contract down.
Any other fun things from the Tomato Festival that are new this year that you want to talk about?
Well, we have Parks and Rec really worked hard on getting this pickleball smash tournament put together, and we just posted that just recently, so that's out there on the Facebook page. That's going to be in JFK Park Friday through Sunday. Friday's going to be Senior Day, 55 and up.
Okay. Why are you pointing at me like that? I'm not there yet.
No.
I'm just saying.
Well, you know I'm getting ready to turn the big 50 this year, and when I see that 55 and up and I see Senior Day, we got to rebrand that.
Okay.
We got to work on that. Saturday is going to be all mixed doubles, and I noted that there's 8 and up, so the age is 8 and up, and for that, so I think that's what that Saturday is, and then Sunday's going to be a men and women's double. Registration's now open. It's on the Tomato Festival Facebook page. It's on the Parks and Rec page. It will be on the website hopefully by this weekend. I got a lot of things to get on the Tomato Festival website, so all that's coming soon. And I was really excited. I was out walking this morning, and back at the park back there's tons of people playing pickleball.
Yep.
Have you ever played pickleball?
No, I have not, but I know we had a lot of passionate fans. Obviously, when the construction was going on at JFK, we had a lot of passionate fans out there. So I didn't want to take away from their court experience on that one.
I think we should have a staff outing to play pickleball one day.
I think
I'm trying to get Donna to partner with me.
There we go.
I think we have a day just to learn how to play.
Hilarity will ensue on that one, I'm sure.
I know she's loving you for putting that out there
Yep.
right now.
All right, so Donna, I guess we'll see you at the pickleball court sometime soon.
Also, we have the sensory time. I don't want to forget about that. That isn't new. It's not a new activity. It was new last year. So I'm really excited to see how that grows this year. And that's an opportunity. We're going to do that on Friday from 2 to 4. And it includes activities for those who have sensory sensitivities. In our first year that we were going to do that last year, we were excited about that because we were going to have rides and be able to offer that opportunity for families to come and ride. And that obviously did not happen last year. We have rides back this year, so we'll be able to offer that element. So I'm really excited about that. The community band's going to be coming back to the Tomato Festival. I'm really excited about partnering with that. And the pageant's on Saturday this year. So that's a change. Not a new activity. Registration's open for that.
Yes, registration is
You're
now.
registered.
So plenty of, and I think we had, I didn't think we didn't get to 100, but we were pretty close to 100 participants last year. So for everybody out there, it's a great experience, a lot of team building, just a lot of camaraderie amongst all the girls and of the various ages, and some of the gentlemen that join in as well.
Absolutely. And it's been fun to see them all year participate in the other activities, to see them, whether it's at the high school or I know they were just at Arbor Day.
So we're gonna have a few. We're gonna have actually the Queen here will in about 2 weeks. Talking about that as well. So we're really looking forward to that.
Great opportunity for.
Now you have a tradition that I found out. Obviously, the more I've gotten to know you, that helps provide the best amount of weather.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about this tradition? And I think you have a little bit of it with you.
I do. It's the no rain boots.
And they work all the time, right?
Well, if you believe in the power of the no rain boots, they work.
Okay. Apparently actually, you know what? Last year on the Thursday night of the Tomato Festival, it really didn't rain until after everything was over. So
it didn't. I mean, if
Can
they
we put
were
lightning bolts
asking,
on it
I had a
now?
lot of people ask if I had lightning boots, which I do not have. No lightning boots. But you'll see this at any event I'm doing. I bring them with me everywhere.
Yeah.
If I'm at the farmer's market, you'll see them sitting on my table, or you'll see them on my feet. The vendors will be yelling at me like, Jennifer, get your boots on. So yeah, it's become a tradition to have my no rain boots at all events.
It's always an interesting time here at City Hall. Do we have any questions so far for Jennifer?
There is one comment, and it's on our new website. I hope there is a multilingual feature as well.
Yeah, that is. You want to talk about
We
that?
do. We've translated a lot of forms, and you'll see that the different departments have forged ahead with that. I know the water department really took some time in planning that out. Parks and Recreation will have forms, and even the auditor's office has translated a lot of their forms on their pages as well. So we will have that.
But continuing in that transition to, that we obviously have a lot of diversity and want to make sure it's as accessible as possible.
Absolutely.
Well, I know you're going to stick around for a little bit because we have a lot of fun things going on. Were there any other questions? Is that the only one so far?
Nope, that's it.
All right. So we all know here one of the big things that came about in the last 10 days is we have our first part of the Green Tomato Initiative here at City Hall is we have new trash cans. This is my trash can. It's a lot smaller than the previous trash cans, but the reality is this is what it should be. Most of the trash in the city is going to be something coming into this. So this is where you're going to find candy wrappers in, mostly, especially in this office. A lot of candy wrappers. You're going to find other things that can't necessarily be recycled. Now, for all the recycling here, you're going to have, the traditional big one. And with all the paper that we have here at City Hall and things like that, definitely this is what you're going to have. There's a handy-dandy thing in here, which is good, that what's not accepted is we can't put a propane tank in this, which is in the diagram. I'm not sure that anyone would put a propane tank in here, but it's obviously not allowed. Single-use plastic bags are also not allowed in here. That's always been a fun thing.
What?
I know, go figure. But all your usual things will be here. One other thing that we're doing here as well is food waste. So banana peel, apple core, things like that, not going in the trash. We're actually going to put it in a different receptacle. Hopefully, maybe potentially one day we move into a little bit more of a composting idea. We also have an incredibly large sign. This is the first template of what you'll start seeing in our parks. So we have our recycling information, better signage all the way that it's going to go part of our throughout our parks. This was part of a SWACO grant that Parks and Rec took the lead on. So Donna and her team were able to get this into us to get all the recycling things in here to the city, but also as well as continuing to expand it and retrofit some of our stuff out at the parks because obviously there are a lot of times when you go out to the parks that people don't remember to put the trash in the trash and the recycling in recycling. We've joked in times that the beverage of choice at Civic Park seems to be Corona. Not really sure why that is, but apparently that's one of them. But again, always trying to make sure we take care of this stuff. These are our parks, and we want to make sure we do as best a job with them as we can.
It's a great educational tool too. I even found here like there's things that I still I'm looking at that sign like you just forget.
You didn't know you couldn't put propane tanks in.
I didn't know I
recycling.
couldn't bring my propane tanks in and put them in the thing.
It's always good to know with that one. So that's the recycling initiative. There's going to be a lot more coming along, including some talks about different options that we're going to have for those single-use plastic bags and for other recycling efforts all the way throughout. So we're also still hiring. So again, if you're looking to pick up some hours, we're looking obviously for like a Monday through Friday type of job for our maintenance crew, cutting grass, things like that. It's a great job for the summer for students that are getting out of school, coming home from college for a little bit, want to earn some extra cash, things like that. Code enforcement is also going to be starting to be a lot more active as we kind of go through. The first thing that we're talking about is keeping the sidewalks clear, especially when, the overgrowth. As you might have noticed, it's been a little rainy this spring, so a lot of things have kind of overgrown onto the sidewalks, so we'll have to take care of that. But also when you're out walking, we want to make sure that our residents are safe and we don't have to worry about trip hazards and things. So if you feel that there's a couple of sidewalks that are out there that need attention, go ahead and make sure you inform code enforcement so we can kind of take care of that as well. Trash cans, continue to remember to put those trash cans back away from the front of the house, especially after trash has been picked up. Especially if your trash day is on Wednesday and your trash can's still out on Saturday, probably be a really good idea to go ahead and take care of that. Also want to just kind of like a public courtesy thing. We all know that there's people have more cars in their houses now than they ever had in the past. And so a lot of times what we see is those sidewalks with the cars kind of hanging over the driveway, blocking the sidewalks. I get it. You know, there's been times when that happens even with me and with everybody really.
Yeah.
But when you're seeing families with strollers, or you're seeing somebody who might have limited mobility and they're going to have to maneuver and cut into the grass or go this way or something like that, just try and remember that. There's in a lot of places in Reynoldsburg, you do have the option to park on the street and to stay out of there. And there's also a wonderful thing called a garage, which, believe it or not, that's where cars are technically supposed to go. So it helps, alleviate that. If you're like some people, though, their garages are more or less, hobby shops and things of that nature more than
I've
anything
never
else.
had a car in a garage.
Yeah, I know.
But I've got 4 kids, so it's filled with toys.
Yeah, I would say the toys would be there. So, any questions or any comments about code enforcement or anything like that?
It's not about code enforcement, but there's a question.
Yeah.
Is there going to be an entrance to Civic Park off Rose Hill?
That is in the plans. We're waiting for the engineering to get finished with OHM and Civic and EMH&T, and they're going to present to council what the ultimate plan for Civic Park is going to be. So we've seen some kind of glimpses. There'll be 2 options for a bridge. It's going to be one of those things where the question then becomes for engineers to answer, and that's what we're waiting for. You have a more narrow gap, so there's not as much water in between Rose Hill and a potential second entrance, but it's geographically it's challenging because there's not a lot of land to put anything in for a bridge. Or you go a little bit further in a different direction and the bridge would have to be a little bit longer, but the area around it would be more stable. So we're going to let the experts present that. But the goal is ultimately to have a secondary entrance to Civic Park, 1 for safety and 2 for access. So if you live on that side of town, on the Rose Hill side, you have to drive all the way around either Main Street or Broad Street to get into Civic Park. Now you'll have an option to actually get into it. Now keep in mind, the bridge will probably be the absolute last thing that goes there because the bridge is also the absolute most expensive thing that goes there. But it's going to be a phased-in approach, probably over 4 to 6 years to kind of get that process started. Once we know when the teams are ready to present that information, we're going to have that out. You're going to see maps. It's got all sorts of really great things in there. Splash pads, pickleball courts, you've got expanded nature trails, you've got safety features in the park, you've got all sorts of other things that we can talk about when we see those pictures. We're really excited about it.
Yes.
We put a lot of effort into it. We've had kids from schools involved in the process. Lots of community engagement over the last couple of years. But there are a couple of things will be there. Is one, we only have so much money, so we're going to have to plan it out in a smart way. We have to deal with the infrastructure in there because hopefully the idea would be to return the Tomato Festival back to Civic Park at some point. But if we do that, we got to make sure that we have water and electricity and all those other things. And those are not fun things to talk about when you're talking about, Civic Park and we're talking about a cricket pitch or we're talking about a dog park and everybody gets that. But when we talk, hey, we have to work on water pipes, nobody's excited about that. But those are things that we have to do. And when we do this, we want to do it right. And that way we can make sure that it's working and prepared for the next decade and more. All right, so a couple of other fun things. We do have our usual Main Street update. As you've noticed, Lancaster now, those barrels are kind of getting moved off of the road on Lancaster, which is good. Hopefully today, and I'm going to try and take a walk here in a little bit after the show, the bricks on the Main Street part by Memorial Plaza should be being installed today. Once all the bricks on Main Street on the Memorial Plaza area are installed and put in, then those 2 lanes, the westbound lanes on Main Street, are going to be open, both lanes. So those would be the lanes if you don't do the west-east thing, which, again, it takes me a while. The lanes that are closest to Prost and Tempe Taco, those lanes are going to be opened up. So you'll have much more free flow of traffic because the majority of the work is going to shift onto the other side of the street. You're starting to see some of the retaining wall being built up by Jackson, and then you're going to see some of the other work kind of moving its way down through there. So those are a couple of things that are going on. Also want to make sure that you know that Memorial Plaza is open, so you're able to park there, and I would park there especially this Thursday because Tempe Taco is going to be celebrating Cinco de Mayo, or for Star Wars fans, Revenge of the Sith, whichever one you want to go to. Yep, it's everywhere. But you can go out to Cinco de Mayo and celebrate. They're going to have musicians out there. There's going to be bands, I think, playing from 11 o'clock on. Some great deals, so go ahead and support our local businesses there. Memorial Plaza, as well as the city parking lot, are going to be open for that. So we encourage everybody to go out in those areas. Other things that are going to be kind of coming up in a little bit, just a reminder, again, you'll probably start hearing some more things about our the expanded on and off ramp at 70 and Taylor Road. Had a lot of conversation pieces about that just because of the fact that we know with Intel coming, that is going to be a priority. So as soon as we get more pictures and information about that, we'll get that out to you. Any questions on any of the topics for the road construction or anything else like that?
It's not about road construction, but it's about one of our events.
Oh, for sure.
It said, will the 4th of July celebration be at Civic Park, and will there be live music?
Yes and yes.
Do we know who our band is yet?
Swag is going to be performing.
All right.
And we are going to have inflatables this year.
Yes.
That's something we've always have had. Looking for not just all bounce houses, but something that would, from younger kids to middle-aged school kids, where just basketball,
Yeah.
axe throwing, but not axe throwing. Why not?
Probably a good call. Just saying.
But yes, back at Civic Park, have live band. The community band's we've been able to partner with the community band a lot, the Reynoldsburg community band. So I'm excited to have them back in the mix in some of our events this year. So they'll be performing as well. Lots of food trucks lined up. So it should be a really nice time for the family.
All right.
That's it for right now.
So just want to remind that the April Women's Defense class is now over, and everything went really well. So the class, the next batch of class is going to start September 6th. It'll be the 6th, 7th, 12th, and 14th from 6 to 8:30. So if you're interested in that, there's only about a dozen spaces for that. So if you're really interested in it, make sure you go ahead and put your name in. You can get that information on the website under the police page. But it's a great opportunity for young ladies 12 and up. They can actually teach, unfortunately, much needed skills in life. But it's also great. It's just a great bonding experience. I know there's been mothers and daughters that have gone out there. I know there's been friends that have gone out there. And then occasionally they go to Tempe Taco or Prosta afterwards because they might be a little sore. So we've got that. We also have National Police Week, which is coming up. Basically, it's going to start the week of the 14th, and we're going to have Turn Reynoldsburg Blue, light up the Burg Blue, starting at that time. And as we've done the last few years, we're going to be passing out blue light bulbs to put on your porches, and that'll be Saturday, May 14th from 10:30 to 12 right here in front of City Hall. It's going to start at 10:30, and we'll do it until while supplies last. So we're really enthusiastic about that. It's a great way to kind of show the support for our police officers.
Absolutely.
Did want to provide an update. Obviously, with all the rain coming up, we are still waiting for the geological survey to go ahead and let us know when we're doing our site visit. But the idea is that device would be able to monitor Blacklick Creek, and when it gets to a certain level, it'll send out an early warning system. We are still awaiting word for official final word for the grant, but it looks like it's going to be moving forward on that. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, now we have a couple of other big announcements. We have our first public meeting for the bus rapid transit line for the city of Reynoldsburg. It's going to be the 21st, Saturday the 21st. The time is to be determined, but I'm probably going to say it's like a 12 to 2 type range. But it'll be at the public library before it gets torn down. We were really careful to make sure that we schedule that in time. But there's going to be a couple of things with it. So bus rapid transit is designed to move people to where the jobs are at a faster pace than traditional traffic.
Yes.
So the idea would be to take it from the furthest eastern portions of our city, which will be out by the Eastwood development by the Department of Agriculture, and can get you to downtown Columbus in about 35 minutes. So there's going to be a few stops in between here, Whitehall, Bexley, and the city of Columbus. But this is going to be your opportunity to kind of take a look at certain things. So this is kind of one of the pictures. And are we good enough picture-wise? You can look at this. The Link Us pattern is there. You can go to the Link Us website and get some things. These are all just design schematics. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like. But this meeting is going to be specifically to talk about what our stations would want to look like. So every community is going to have their own flair. Bexley is going to have its flair on it. We're going to have ours. So this is a chance for the community to sit and talk about what would they like to see. I mean, obviously, we are kind of known as the Tomato Town, and so we're going to have a little bit of that. But what else is it that makes Reynoldsburg up for a couple of our stops? One of the stops is going to be at Bryson, Maine, right around the time where the new Alliance facility is going to be built. We're going to have another one probably between Davidson and Haft, right around City Hall, and then again, the furthest one will be as far out east as we can make it. So this is kind of, again, a mock-up of it. The idea is that all of these things are going to want to be something where it's walkable. You're going to have access to so you can, go and grab a cup of coffee before you get on, things of that nature. But that's kind of what's there. But what they're going to look like as far as the themes, that's what the community gets an opportunity to decide. It's not something that I'm going to decide or council's going to decide. This is something that we want the community out there. So once we have all the finite details and everything, we'll go ahead and do that. But again, that's going to be Saturday, May 21st at the Public Library on Bryce Road. We do have a little bit of a development update. As you know, on Broad Street, you're seeing the finishing touches on the sheets. They're moving pretty far on that. And there'll be a potential for a Moo Moo car wash on the same adjacent to that particular site. So that's potentially on its way to kind of take care of. You've got your car wash, you've got your gas station, you've got to take care of your car as far as the oil change. So you've got a lot of stuff there. So that'll be something that goes in that area. But we hope to have some more exciting news coming up about some other development that we're working hard on here. But that'll be something that you'll see at your Planning Commission and BZBA meetings in the not too distant future. Do have some really good events this weekend. The first one is going to be Raiderthon, and that's going to be at the Summit campus from 5 to 9 p.m. It's $5 at the door, but every penny of it is actually going to go to support pediatric cancer and blood disorders. So I want you to make sure you go out there, support this organization. There's going to be games, there's going to be food, there's going to be raffles, and it's a great thing, and it's all basically, it's student-led. So this is something that is a huge thing and a benefit for us. So big shout out to the Leo Club out there for all the work that they do with that in that location. We also have as well our Reynoldsburg Community Association. They're still taking nominations for the Grand Marshal for the 4th of July Parade, but they're also taking applications for participation in the 4th of July Parade. So if you're interested in that, go onto the website. There's a relatively easy to understand form to go ahead and put it in there so you can go ahead and get registered in. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of the same things. You're going to see a lot of our community groups. You're going to see, obviously, the city personnel in there, and you'll probably see some politicians too. Part of the fourth, that's part of the parade job. But you'll see all those things out there. But again, candy and back out in the sun and all of that stuff, which is really good. We do have a couple of cash drops coming up. We have a cash drop this weekend. It's at 256 and Taylor. This will be the Knights of Columbus gathering money for Special Olympics. And we also have the Lady Raiders softball team on May 15th at all the usual locations, again, generating some revenue so they can make sure that they maintain their field uniforms and everything that they need as they're getting ready to wrap up their season. Just past that, on the 21st, you also have your Multicultural for Reynoldsburg event that's going to be going on at the Reynoldsburg High School at the Livingston campus. Going to have a lot of things on here, so we're going to have some dance. We're going to have a number of different musical activities all the way from different ethnic groups. You're going to have a couple of different dresses, and there are going to be some things about different clothing and all of sorts of things like that. So we hope that you're able to go ahead and participate again at that. It's May 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Livingston campus. This is in conjunction with the Great Reynoldsburg Community Association, the Visitors Bureau, the City of Reynoldsburg, and City of Reynoldsburg City Schools. So all of those things are working. So again, keep an eye out on social media for updates on that. So we're really looking forward to those things. We talked about our big musical reveals, so we've got North to Nashville. Yes. To be fair, I'm not a country person, but we did listen to them and all of it, so I'm really looking forward to it. Yes. I'm just looking forward to it. Got a lot of different groups coming out. It's going to be a great time, and it's going to be here before you know it. Believe it or not, we're already in May, and before you know it, it's going to be 4th of July and then Tomato Festival. And you'll know that because everybody at City Hall will be running around crazy about the entire month of July, getting ready for it. Yeah, I know. Go figure. The last thing that I wanted, or two things I wanted to talk about is one is we all know that this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we cannot give our teachers appreciation enough. So I do want to go ahead and take a few words for a proclamation on that one. Whereas, through their dedicated efforts to ensure our children learn the knowledge and skills needed to be successful in college, careers, and life, Reynoldsburg teachers are vital in their community and building the future. Whereas, because of the increasing diversity of students, teachers must constantly learn so they adapt to meet the ever-changing needs of the young people in our schools. Whereas teachers play a crucial role in shaping our children into the people they will become, supporting them through their youth and teaching lessons that have an impact that will carry through life. Whereas the teaching profession benefits from educators who are empowered to lead within and beyond the classroom, allowing them to best prepare young people to become contributing members of our community, thereby strengthening our democracy. Teachers throughout Reynoldsburg have risen to the challenges presented by COVID-19 and provide unwavering support to their students in all of Reynoldsburg City Schools and all challenges therein. There are thousands of dedicated educators working in Reynoldsburg and across the state and nation in public schools, putting in countless hours and extra effort to help these students achieve, preparing them for further education, the workforce, and their civic duties. So now, therefore, I, Joe Begany, Mayor of the City of Reynoldsburg, proclaim May 2nd through 6th as Teacher Appreciation Week. As a former teacher that got out right before COVID, I cannot imagine what teachers are going through. I've lived through it, through what my children have said about what they've dealt with. But hats off to you, and not only should we appreciate you, and Obviously, you'll be showered with gifts, and different community events will be doing things for you. You can get certain things, but we also have to support you in other ways too. We have to support you by making sure that you're given the best resources and opportunities to do the job that you're actually hired to do all the way throughout. And occasionally that means telling the state legislature to go away. So I'll just leave it at that. The other thing that I wanted to bring about, and I've got this information, we obviously know that there's been a lot of incidents with speeding in Reynoldsburg. And so one of the big concerns is what's going on around our school district and our school buildings. So I had some information pulled up. Sergeant Moser was nice enough to get this to me about bringing some information. So we obviously put an emphasis on being in the school zone area. So from January 1st to basically the end of April, we had issued 131 citations for speeding in those areas, which is a pretty decent amount. I would say that their winner is the Livingston campus, around in that Livingston Drive area, because that tends to be one. But also you're looking at Wagner Road, Summit, Taylor Road, Rose Hill, and then it kind of goes from there. But the reality is our police officers are out doing as best a job as they can to be in those areas. Now, they are around the schools. I had a gentleman who sent me a video yesterday of a school that came to a bus that came to a complete stop, and this was obviously not near a school, but the bus came to a complete stop. You didn't see the arm go out, but you knew that their kids were getting on the bus. And the moment that the arm went back and the red light stopped flashing, 2 cars went right by it. And at that point in time, you got to think, okay, first of all, you should never be in that much of a rush. And is it really worth it? Because while most of the time the kids are on the bus and the bus drivers are doing that, kids are sometimes unpredictable, and the worst thing that you want to do is if you're driving and speeding to get behind, past a bus, and a kid happens to jump out in front of it, there's no way you can stop. So when you're out there, try and be a little patient with that, just because it really isn't worth it. You're not saving time. There have been many times that we've all driven, and those that drive the speed limit and those that speed a little bit, and then you get to the same red light at almost the same time. Very rarely does it actually even out where you're actually gaining time. So just want to have that out there. In the meantime, please know RPD is watching you, and they will find you eventually. With that, I'll take any last-second questions. Any comments?
None. No, we're good.
Nothing? All right. So as a reminder, with the weather coming out nice, make sure you take care of your lawns. Make sure everything's trimmed back a little bit so people can go in. And when you go to the grocery store and when you're done, please make sure you put your shopping carts away. We do appreciate that. In the meantime, may the 4th be with you, and enjoy all that this day brings, which hopefully in my future is a mini Star Wars marathon of some set. So thank you very much. And again, thank you, Jennifer, for coming in.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you playing along with the shirt today. Words of wisdom. She follows those diligently here at the city. So thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, next week, Cornell Robertson, Franklin County Engineer, is going to be here. So really good things. We're going to talk about Wagner Road, which is going to be a huge. We had our big kickoff second meeting yesterday about that. We're also going to be talking about the expanded sidewalk on the by the Livingston House. So we're going to get that legislation on, and all that's going to be really good. Starting to see some of these things come to fruition that we've been talking about for a while. All right, that's it. That's all I got. We'll see you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.